That was a bit louder than I expected. Hey, welcome to another live. I'm Ollie Matthews, health coach for some of the world's leading entrepreneurs. I haven't said it like that in a while. Sleep. Sleep is a big topic, and you'll have seen me going on about sleep a lot over the last few weeks. And one of the reasons is that I've developed a package called the Sleep Solution, which, like my health screening that I've done, which covers gut health and brain health, this talks about sleep health, where we dive into some real deep questions and see what is actually going on with your sleep. And then we get on a call. And on that call that's recorded, my goal is to give you some ideas following that questionnaire as to how to quickly improve your sleep. Now, one of the biggest things, there's actually three things which usually happens with sleep that people struggle with. Struggle to get to sleep, struggle to stay asleep, and then waking up really groggy. Now, they're all interlinked to a degree, but when people actually struggle to fall asleep, it's usually down to one of three things. One, that you've just been through so much stress over the years that there's a high amount of inflammation in the body. We need to work on that, whether it's nutrition, environment, stress levels, whatever it is. Then there's behavioral side of things, where we just basically self-sabotage our sleep. And that can be massively frustrating because unless we are so super self-aware or dive into it, we don't really audit our sleep. We don't really look deeper into our sleep and realize that we're the people self-sabotaging. And then the last one is kind of the mental side of things. People have an anxiety, minds just not switching off, which can be linked with the blood glucose management side of things. It could be linked with gut health, can be behavioral once again. But the big thing is that if you have good circadian rhythm, if you get into a good place, you should be able to go up to bed and fall asleep pretty easily. You should be tired before you go to bed. And most people, when I speak to them, I look deeper into 5-HTP, melatonin, which I highly recommend you don't take melatonin. Get your body to produce its own. If you're struggling with it and you need to take melatonin, that's when you really should be dropping me a message and we can talk about this. But people look at the deeper things, into the biohacking, into all these different things going on, when the behavioral things are what we need to look at. So people are having high levels of screen time before bed, watching the TV, watching their phones, on the computers, or they have junk food, they have coffee in the afternoon. Now, coffee has got a half-life of like 5 to 7 hours. So if you have coffee at like 1 to 3 p.m., in 5 to 7 hours, half of that coffee is still in your system. So if you have like 300 milligrams of caffeine, you've still got 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is like half a black coffee in your system. Around 5 to 7 hours later, depending on how quickly you metabolize that. Would you have that before bed? That's one of the things which potentially is keeping you up. But we end up getting on like a stimulant roller coaster, where we have this coffee for this kick during the day because we're sluggish, because we need that coffee because we're getting poor sleep. But then in the evening, we need to switch off. So we have alcohol, which is something that is going to really work on our prefrontal cortex in our brain, which deals with fear. And then when we have that alcohol, it works a bit more deeper as a sedative. And then we just switch off and get to sleep. But one of the problems there is that no one gets good sleep with alcohol because it knocks you out. It doesn't allow your body to get into that deep level of sleep, which is very restorative, helps regenerate cells and helps rebuild the tissues. And another thing that goes on is that some people just simply work out too late, which is a stressor on the body and releases cortisol. Now, the big thing that you can do, and this is something which we look into, and I'm going to go into deeper content with this, but one of the big things you can do is work on your circadian rhythm and work on how to get your body into the rest and digest, your parasympathetic nervous system, where it allows us to regenerate, allows us to recharge, new cells are developed, and so on. Because most of the people spend our time in our fight or flight mode, in a stress mode in the sympathetic nervous system. Now, when we wake up, we should have high cortisol. So if you're waking up groggy, we'll get into that. That's one of the things we should be looking at. A lot of people look in the evening at why is the problem with sleep, and they don't realize where they wake up is where we first need to look. So between the hours of like 6 to 8, we should have quite high cortisol, which wakes us up. I'm not going to go into the science of what raises it or anything like that. We should have high cortisol. We shouldn't need to have coffee to wake us up. We should be able to wake up. And then if we go through the day, that cortisol should get lower. And we should have melatonin that comes up at around sort of 8 to 10 p.m. Now, melatonin is produced over around 4 or 5 hours. So if we're having coffee, which is a stimulant, and that's still in our system, that's going to massively interfere with our melatonin production. And that is going to stop us being able to produce enough melatonin to lower, to send us to sleep, to relax us. And that is a massive place to look. Also, blue light exposure or light exposure to screens and everything like that, that can impact our melatonin production. It boosts cortisol, which then we need to lower that before we can then produce the melatonin side of things. And also things like if you have an argument with your partner, that boosts cortisol. Exercise, as I said, that boosts cortisol. All this impacts on melatonin levels. So when we're looking at struggling to fall asleep, even eating late, too late, like a lot of people, we need like 3 hours to digest a big meal. And eating late is going to massively impact how well you sleep, because our digestive system is at full work and in full throttle, and it's not allowing us to relax and actually get to sleep. So if you're struggling to fall asleep, look at the things that are going on. Have you been through high stress for high periods of time and there's been loads of sickness, poor immune function, constant colds, brain fog, fatigue, all these different things, and there's inflammation going on in the body? Is it mental health? Is it anxiety again? And are we linking that with gut health, which needs to be improved? There's a lot more than just that, obviously, but it's one of the things which we would look at, which would massively help you. But a lot of the time, people are searching for these really in-depth things going on rather than actually doing a sleep audit as such, looking at what they're doing for 2-3 hours before bed and actually realizing it's behavioral things. That if you actually done the little things that cut off the screen time, didn't have the coffee, didn't get so stressed by the exercise late at night or bite that coffee, you actually found time to wind down, listen to relaxing music, or didn't scroll through social media late at night, watching YouTube videos, all these stresses that happen, that you would get to sleep. And this is where we look deeper into with the sleep solution. There are health side of things. There's 3 sections. There's health, there's mental health, or there's lifestyle, there's mental health, and there's physical health. And we look deeper into these 3 sections to see what is actually going on in the body and where could we work? Where is that low-hanging fruit that is going to allow you to start improving your sleep? Now, one of the key things to admit is that if you are sleeping at 2-3 a.m., it's not going to instantly go back to like 10 p.m. where you get to sleep. We have to gradually work on pulling that back, like an hour at a time or half an hour at a time, and be realistic with when you're going to get your sleep to that point. If you want to help with the sleep side of things, if you want to talk about the sleep solution package, drop me a message. On Friday, it's £99. And at the moment, it's £49. But on Friday, the official launch, if you want it before then, it's £49. But the official launch is £99. Drop me a message and we can get you booked in to go through the questions, get you booked in for the call, which is recorded. And you'll be able to have that to go through over and over to really implement and improve your sleep.